Traders, the markets are in meltdown. We've had Trump's tariffs, China's prompt response, and this has meant the indices are dropping like stones. Trillions has been wiped off the indices. We've also got oil breaking through key support levels. We've got gold tumbling from all-time highs. What is going on? Have we got some great trading opportunities? Yes, we have. Let's take a look. Welcome to Simply Forex, guys, the place that gives you in-depth market analysis, trade ideas, tips and advice so you too can succeed at trading. And if you stay till the end of the vid, guys, I'm also going to give you all of my swing trade ideas for this week. If that sounds like a plan, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash the like button. So, guys, as I said, the markets are in meltdown. The indices are just plummeting. Yeah, Trump's tariffs have been promptly met with China's response, and all this uncertainty in the market is just created absolute uproar. It's like a wrecking ball, and everyone's just trying to work out what's going on, all the implications of these tariffs, how different countries will retaliate, and it's just mayhem, to be quite honest. So where to start, right? We're going to start with the indices. So let's take a look at the charts. Just take a look at the NASDAQ. Look at that. That is absolutely plummeting, right? And you don't have to be a fundamental mastermind to know why, right? It's tariffs. Yeah, and there's so much uncertainty in the market as to how will other countries react to Trump's tariffs, right? It's all a bit of the unknown. There's so much uncertainty, and it is freaking investors out. Hence the plummeting indices, right? Trillions has been wiped off the indices. There's the NASDAQ. There's the S&P, there's the Dow Jones, right? Now, you're probably thinking, Tom, is this a sell trade? Itchy eyebrow. And I'm going to say, no, there's just no value. What are you going to start doing? Selling here? Are you going to put your stop up here? You know, obviously this is a weekly chart. We can find better stop losses, but I'm just playing devil's advocate a bit. But there's just no value, right? These could keep plummeting down as long as that uncertainty continues. But for me, there's no value in selling the indices, right? But this has led to strength in yen and Swiss franc. But interestingly, we've seen gold tumble from its all-time highs, right? Which totally breaks any normal correlation that we know, right? So let's take a look at gold now. Let's take a look at precious metals. So indices dropping like stones. Look at gold on the weekly chart. Look at that weekly candle, right? That is a selling candle, right? No two ways about it, right? But again, how has this happened, right? That is a break in a correlation. If the indices are dropping, we know gold is a flight to safety. Everybody knows this. So why have we got this massive sell-off on gold, right? Is it just profit taking on Friday, right? And we saw this big sell-off, or is this going to be a more sustained move to the downside? Now, I've been saying, you know, for a little while, for us to trade gold, we need a retrace. Again, you can't start buying gold up here on last week's candle, right? Putting your stop down here. Again, there's no value. But this candle could signify the start of not a downtrend, the start of a retrace, right? And if we get a retrace maybe into here, moving average 20 catches up, there could be some really nice value buys on gold. But this is really interesting to me because that has broken a correlation, right? Look at silver. Look at that, right? Complete sell-off. Look at copper, right? Precious metals are dropping like stones, which goes against every correlation when the indices are dropping, right? These should be strong. So be very aware when the market breaks correlations, right? There's something not right there, okay? So that says to me, gold just wants to have a retrace, right? Is there a trade here? Potentially, right? If you're going to trade gold, I would trade the retrace on the back of this weekly candle. But it's very hard to think of selling gold, right? We've got all this turbulence, as we know, I've already explained, interest rates are being lowered in the US, right, or potentially. So this is playing into gold strength. Central banks are buying up bullion, right? There's loads of reasons to buy gold. So do we want to sell the retrace? Probably not. But we want to wait for a retrace, price come into here, and then buy from value. Okay. So indices dropping, precious metals dropping. Like I said, the world has gone crazy. It's gone more crazy than, who's a really crazy person? Than Michael Keaton. I don't know why I find him crazy. Anyway, so what else are we looking at, guys? I've got so many things written down. I don't know what order to do them in. Let's have a look at oil, right? Oil, this has broken. I mean, let's even go to the monthly chart. This has broken a key support level. I'm going to say it 3 or 4 times because it's such a key level, right? This level through here has held, right? Let's even scroll out so we can see. This has held since July 21, right? This is the monthly chart. And we are now seeing, obviously this monthly candle hasn't finished, and it'll be very interesting to see where this monthly candle finishes. But you can see here on the monthly chart, we are breaking this level. If we go to the weekly chart, confirmed, right? Zoom out again, you can see this candle has broken out of this key support level, right? So, you know, again, is oil a sell? And the answer is yes, right? It's broken a key support level. It will be very interesting to see. I know we've got weeks left, but it'll be very interesting to see how that monthly candle finishes. It might close back into this level because it's such an important level, right? But looking at the weekly chart, this is a nice selling opportunity, right? A retrace into this level, which we know is a key level, bearish reaction, and we can start selling oil, right? Now, another correlation that's broke is oil with the Canadian dollar, right? Correlations are breaking everywhere. So if oil is weak, which it clearly is, it's broken a key support level, then Canadian dollar is weak. Okay, but if you look at any Canadian dollar pair, right? Pound Canadian dollar, look at that weekly candle, right? Canadian dollar strength, you know, look at EURGBP. And remember, pound and Canadian dollar, pound and euro have been very strong. If we go down to the day chart, look at this Canadian dollar strength we're seeing. I mean, don't even get me started on Aussie dollar CAD. Look at that. I mean, that's a mixture of Canadian dollar strength and Aussie dollar weakness. But Canadian dollar is strong compared to its counterparts, but oil is plummeting. There's another correlation that is totally broke, right? The markets are mental at the moment, right? I've never seen so many correlations break. Another thing that's really interesting is the US dollar, right? It's like you would sell, you know, let's take a quick look, right? You know, Aussie dollar, US dollar, right? We would sell, yeah. I mean, like, it's just plummeting, right? But, you know, euro, US dollar, right? It's looking like a buy trade, right? I don't know, let's look at another one, US dollar, Swiss franc. I mean, this is looking, I mean, it's very oversold, but look, this is looking like a sell trade, right? And then if you look at pound US dollar, we look at the weekly chart, look at that candle. That's looking like a sell trade. So we've got a real mixed bag of US dollar strength and weakness as well, right? Across the US dollar majors. The markets are mental, right? I don't mean to keep repeating this. So indices dropping, oil is dropping, precious metals are dropping, right? Correlations are breaking. Okay, now does this represent some trade ideas for us? So we've already spoke about oil. I think oil could be potentially a good trade idea. But I want to look specifically now at some Forex pairs. And before I do, guys, if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash the like button. If you haven't already, please come join our trading community. You can talk to like-minded traders, share knowledge, ideas, have a chit chat. So please come join our free Discord channel. It's free. Come join it. Also, guys, if you would like access to our premium trading education, then please check out our website, www.simply-forex.com. We've got the VIP Discord, we have the Simply Forex Complete Trading Course, and we have the mentorship program where I coach you one-on-one. Right? If you're interested in any of those things, please check out the website and the links below. Also, guys, don't forget to leave a comment and leave a question. If you've got any questions about trading that you need help with, please leave a question below. We will even create a vid for it. Right. Now, let's look at, so weak, right? Weaker than a wet paper bag is Aussie dollar, right? Can I be bothered to spell it all out? Yes, I can. And New Zealand dollar. These are weaker than a newly born baby, right? And then obviously you've got Swiss franc, flight to safety pairs, and Japanese yen are stronger than Chuck Norris and Steven Seagal's love child, right? So you would think, right? So Aussie dollar yen sells would be a good trade. Perhaps New Zealand Swiss franc sells would be a good trade on the back of that weakness and strength, right? And we know why they're strong and we know why they're weak, right? Risk on, risk off. And the answer is no. Yeah. So if you looked at Aussie dollar yen, for example, right, there's no value, right? I just can't start selling here, right? If price retraces into here, okay, then potentially we've got a good sell trade. But a lot of these things are just totally oversold. I mean, if you look at the day chart, you can see how oversold they are, right? Or overextended, right? You're gonna need something very drastic to make that retrace into value, and then we can start selling. If it does, okay, but you know, all this turbulence suggests it's just going to keep going. And your question will be, why can't we trade it? Because, you know, if you start selling here again, think of risk to reward. Where's your stop loss going to go? Up here, right? And then you need price to move another, 300 pips or whatever, right? Let's have a look at New Zealand Swiss franc, right? You're going to trade that? It's just, you can't. I mean, look at the weekly. I mean, again, this is at all-time lows, right? Look, the markets are mental. I know I keep repeating that, but the markets are mental. I went on holiday the start of last week and I come back to absolute bedlam. Yeah, I need another holiday just to cope with the, Thursday, Friday in the markets. But again, there's no value here. Yeah, again, I don't want to start selling down here. Even if it plummets another 1,000 pips, I still don't want to start selling here. I have to find a place for my stop loss. So if we just looked at the weekly chart, if price retraces into here, right, or these lows, yeah, then I can start selling because my stop loss can go here. And then I have, my risk to, excuse my drawings, to reward start to make sense. Right? But just selling down here doesn't make sense, right? So although we're seeing Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar weakness and Swiss franc yen strength, that combination hasn't manifested into actual trades, right? And just look how weak Aussie dollar is. Like, this is Euro Aussie dollar. Look at that. We've got Euro strength as well. Look at pound Aussie dollar. I mean, Aussie dollar is so weak. Let's look at New Zealand dollar, right? Let's have a look at it compared to CAD, because we know CAD's strong. Yeah, look at that. New Zealand CAD, right? Let's have a look at pound New Zealand dollar, right? We know Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar are weak, but they don't represent trade ideas. Now, you're probably thinking, Tom, show me your bloody trade ideas. Yeah, we've had enough of your analysis. Let me just check that I have covered everything, guys, right? So, yeah, we've looked at that. Yeah. Okay, so all right, yeah, so let's take a look at my actual trade ideas now. Now, this was difficult because we didn't, like I've shown you, there's a lot of things trending, but there's no value in them. So we had to really look at different pairs and pick some trades that had some value in them, right? And the first one is Aussie dollar, US dollar sells. This just about had some value in it, all right? And can I just say, right, this was a target from last week. If you go back and check last week's weekly forecast and you check all of my weekly swing trades, they were all bang on. I am blowing my own trumpet and I'm patting myself on the back. Please go check out last week's weekly forecast. Every trade was pretty much nailed, right? Anyway, stop blowing my own trumpet. Let's focus on this. Now, Aussie dollar, US dollar, right? You know, can we expect to take price? You know, I'd find like a big psychological level down here, right? So this 0.5800, okay? Now, that's a very higher time frame target. This was an old target from last week, which we hit, right? Let's not worry about that. But Aussie dollar, US dollar, I've chose this because it's not crazy oversold, right? There's the moving average 20, there's price, right? We're not millions of miles away. And Aussie dollar, US dollar, we just get a bit of a retrace, you know, somewhere into one of these levels, this vicinity, right? And price starts coming down, we get a bearish reaction, we can start selling Australian dollar against the US dollar, right? And all I would do would be to come back down to this big 6,000 psychological level, right? And then my next target would be 5,950, 5,900, etc. All right, but we need a retrace first to get some value and then just take it back down to these lows. All right, so Aussie dollar, US dollar is a sell trade. I also like pound US dollar, right? So again, you know, this is US dollar strength, but I wouldn't trade US dollar strength with all of the other majors like Swiss franc and yen. I still think Swiss franc and yen are stronger than US dollar, right? But pound US dollar, look at that weekly candle. Now, again, what we need to consider here is that this is in an uptrend, right? So this is why this blue line here is my target and it's conservative and it's a psychological level as always, but we've still got 100 pips to move into, right? Not bad for a day's work. So there's still plenty of room there, okay, but a conservative target because we are against weekly trend. And just look at that candle, right? We saw some pound weakness a bit as well, but this means we can take price just back down to here. And if we look at the day chart, right, admittedly, you know, we haven't broken this kind of key level through here. Right, so I'll probably wait for a break, you know, then a retrace, and then we could potentially take it back down. Looking at the weekly candle, it may go further, guys, but this 2,800 is a good level to aim for. All right, so Aussie dollar, US dollar sells, pound US dollar sells. And like I say, this pound weakness, is it pound weakness or is it more Canadian dollar strength here? I would say this is more Canadian dollar strength actually, right? But we're also looking at euro pound buys, which is more euro strength, but a bit of a pound weakness theme. Now, pound Canadian dollar, let's start with the weekly chart, because like I say, these are swing trades. And you can clearly see there's a key level here, right? And price wants to get to these key levels. Right, this is where all the orders are, right? People need to get filled. The big boys need to get filled. They know there's a shed load of orders in there, right? Now, again, we are in an uptrend, right? I'm not delusional. I can see that's in an uptrend, but look at that weekly candle. That suggests we can take price back down to this 1.82500, 8250, right? So Also, right, if we look at the day chart, yeah, we can clearly see that daily is in a downtrend, right? It did hold on to these lows, right? But if we get a bit of a retrace into here, moving average 20 comes round, I think we have a good sell trade back down to here. All right, so pound Canadian dollar sells. And my last trade idea is euro pound. Where are you, euro pound? Now, again, on the day chart, this does look a little overextended, right? It does. Yeah, there's the moving average 20. Again, we're going to need a retrace. Let's start with the weekly chart, though, because these are swing trades, guys. Yeah. So what we want to see on the weekly chart, right, you can clearly see we're in an uptrend. We broke a real key level here as well, right? And we've got a very nice bullish candle. Okay, so lots of things to like. We just need that value. So we want to see a retrace into this level here, right? Could retrace even deeper than that because of the moving average 20, so far away, right? Even somewhere in here. But wait for a bullish reaction in here, and then we can look to take price back up to this 8,550 psychological level. All right, guys, so yeah, although there is mayhem in the markets, we've still got a good couple of trade ideas in there. Be careful that these correlations in the markets are breaking. You know, everything is you don't need me to tell you this. Everything's a bit crazy, a bit volatile. So tread carefully this week. But, these are some good trade ideas. Like I say, guys, if you haven't already, please come join our trading community, our free Discord. If you want access to all the premium trading education, check out our website. And please leave a question and or comment below the vid. Have a great trading week, and I will see you next time.